I, teen female, grew up without a father for a long time. It was just my mom and me. Last year, my mom got married to my stepdad, Brad. Brad has two kids, Tessa, female 26, and Jake, male 18. My dad passed away shortly after I was born, leaving my mom in mountains of debt. The one thing she refused to sell was her wedding dress. She always talked about how it was her dream for me to get married wearing her dress, or at least her veil. It's a gorgeous, simple white dress with a long lace veil. My dad had the dress handmade and designed for my mom before their wedding. When my mom remarried, she still refused to sell the dress and got a new dress for her wedding to Brad. She always talks about that dress being mine. Tessa got engaged last week and was so excited to show off her ring and talk about her wedding plans. Tessa knows how much the dress means to me, so while talking about her wedding with my mom and Brad, she threw out the idea of wearing the dress my mom saved for me at her wedding because it'll save us so much money. My mom said she wasn't comfortable with that since she was saving the dress for me, but Brad said my mom should agree since she now has two wedding dresses and I can wear the other one. Tessa also pointed out that the dress would need many alterations to fit me since I'm much shorter than my mom and I'm not as thin as my mom. However, Tessa also said it would be years before I'd need it, so it wouldn't be an issue. My mom was on the fence about it, but Brad was all for it and pulled the dress out of storage and handed it to Tessa. I freaked out and grabbed the dress out of her hands. I told her she wasn't allowed to wear my mom's dress and that she could get her own mom's dress or buy her own, but she wasn't allowed to wear the dress my mom was saving for me. I locked myself in the dress in my room. All day mom has been texting me and coming to the door asking me to come out and talk to her and Brad. Brad has been calling me spoiled and selfish, saying that I'm acting like a huge brat. I just can't let some stranger wear the only thing of my dad I have left. I feel bad. Tessa's really upset. She's been crying and texting me, asking me to apologize and give her the dress back. I can't tell if I'm in the wrong. Brad and Tessa think I'm being an idiot, but my stepfather and friends agree that I should stand my ground. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You should not apologize at all. You did nothing wrong. Your mom has told you for years that the dress is for you to wear when you get married. Your mom wore a different dress when she married Brad so his daughter can wear that one. So, why does it have to be your dress she wants to wear? And honestly, if I was your mom I would be considering a divorce. Your mother's new husband is a bully and his adult daughter is the spoiled, selfish brat in this story. To Tessa, it's just a pretty dress that she wants, and as far as Brad is concerned, Tessa should have what she wants regardless of what his wife, the owner of the dress, prefers. Your stepbrother has seen this happen many times in the past, hence his supporting you. The fact that Brad is steamrolling your mom into something she really doesn't want to do is a very bad sign. Tessa is asking me to apologize and give her the dress back. What? There's no giving it back. It was never hers. Brad took it over your mom's objections, and you reclaimed it before anyone could get the idea that it was okay. Brad owes you and your mom big-time apologies, and Tessa can go pound sand. Sneak the dress out to someone you can trust to hold on to it for you. Your mom needs to take the lead here and tell them no. My Uncle Chris is a great guy, and our families have always been tight, but I'm planning a wedding and he's driving me insane. Chris hates my future mother-in-law because he worked his whole life at the same company waiting to get into a particular position, and they decided to hire externally. Mother-in-law got the job, but it was hard on Chris because mother-in-law typed her resume on her phone and clearly didn't proofread it. It looked like a high school kid wrote it, and she refused to interview. He's put off by some of her other behavior, but mainly that resume because it was a joke and he waited his whole life for that position. Every time they're in the same room due to pre-wedding festivities, he has to take some dig at her. He said she was too old for the color she was wearing. A color? He told my mom not to let her talk to my dad because she would sleep with anyone. He randomly threw a shirt at her when she was wearing a bikini and called her attention-seeking. It was a pool party, and she was not the only one in a bikini. He wanted to invite her boyfriend to the bachelor party and buy him a hooker. He made fun of her for not being married, then told her boyfriend not to marry her because if they had a church wedding, the stained glass would shatter. Mother-in-law thinks this is funny, but it's stressing me out. Also, mother-in-law's boyfriend loves to play white knight and defender. Mainly he loves to hear himself talk. I find him pompous and unbearable, but holy smokes does this man love a good argument. I recently sat Chris down and said the comments need to stop. I don't want a shred of drama at my wedding. I don't want to listen to mother-in-law's windbag boyfriend. And I don't want mother-in-law having ammo to trash me to her family that I let this happen. Chris said that he's just having fun and blowing off steam. Then he began to get emotional and said how much it hurt him and how demeaning it was working under her. I might be an idiot because I said it's my wedding month and I just don't care about his feelings. And if he ruins this day with any drama, I won't forgive him. He apologized. But my cousins later called me and blew up on me about how I was selfish and insensitive. I feel I might have been a bit of an idiot because I know how much he wanted that job. I know how much mother-in-law sucks with her attitude and crappy resume. And I can't even imagine how she must act at work. I just have an extreme aversion to drama and don't want to listen to mother-in-law's obnoxious boyfriend. Not the idiot. Your uncle is directing his anger at the wrong person. Instead of being mad at your future mother-in-law, he should be mad at the company for which they work. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Wow, how much must Uncle Chris stink at his job that a woman with a crap resume, full of spelling errors who refused to interview got the job instead of an internal hire? He's blaming the wrong people. He can blame himself. He can blame the upper management who overlooked his contributions to his company in favor of an outsider with a bad resume. But why blame her? Or OP has been fed some BS. And the mother-in-law is just better than the uncle, and he's too misogynistic to accept it. The fact that you're more concerned about listening to your mother-in-law's boyfriend, defending her rather than the misogynistic complaining constantly coming out of your great guy uncle's mouth, says an awful lot about you. Everyone's the idiot here. Well, just you and your uncle, really. Chris is not a great guy. What? He's a vile misogynist pig, and shame on you for not calling his BS out. Honestly, he's acting so poorly that I don't feel sorry for him, not even about the job. And it's no wonder mother-in-law's boyfriend defends her. No one else will, apparently. The way you speak about the guy directs with condescension, and you find him pompous? Look in the mirror. Also, you do not get a wedding month, lol. You come across as so self-centered throughout the whole story. My brother is going through a divorce right now. He's been living with my mom, dad, and me, and my parents helped him come up with the money to get a lawyer, so I know it's been a rough time for him. When he met with the lawyer for the first time, he discovered that you couldn't get alimony in a divorce if there was infidelity, as in the law forbids it, and there's no exception. So, it doesn't matter if you stayed home with your kid for over 20 years, like my brother, or never worked. My sister-in-law is an architect, and she makes bank. My brother thought he would get alimony, but he was dumb enough to cheat on her. He also found out that he couldn't claim any part of the house, because she owned it outright before they married. Both of these he wasn't expecting, and he was upset when he got back from his first visit with the lawyer. When he told me that the law would deny him alimony, I laughed, and my parents chewed me out over it. It was probably a bad reaction, but he was so confident he'd be able to get a big payment and half or all of the house. Instead, he will get some money from their savings, but nowhere near what he thought, and most of it'll get eaten up by legal fees. He's been knocked down several pegs and completely screwed himself over. Am I the idiot because I laughed? Was it like kicking him when he was down? He has no work history or money of his own to fall back on. I know it's been rough for him, and he's also struggling with what to tell my niece. It was almost an involuntary reaction, because I couldn't believe it. My niece doesn't have a medical condition. She graduated from college in June, and she's just turned 23 years old. My brother stayed home since she was born, and she just moved out this summer. Not the idiot. He had a life where his wife provided the home and the income, and he decided to destroy it by cheating on his wife and expected to walk away with her hard-earned money. His pouting over the reality of dealing with the consequences of his stupidity is laughable. But what's he been doing with his free time since? Years ago, when your niece started being a functional adult, he cheated on his wife and then was looking forward to forcing her to pay him alimony every month and wanted half of the house she bought before the marriage. He realizes his side piece will leave once she learns he has no money. LOL. Your brother is a no-good, gold-digging, scummy cheater. No offense. I'm actually amazed that your parents are enabling your brother by providing money for lawyer fees instead of chewing him out for being lazy and for his infidelity. Do they really want their cheating son, who destroyed their granddaughter's family, to rob and further hurt their ex-daughter-in-law? I'm guessing they're afraid he'll move in with them, So they try to get him a good lawyer, hoping he'd get enough money to set himself up on his own. He deserves everything that's happening to him. Look at him, reaping the consequences for his gold digging, cheating actions. Boo hoo hoo. My wife Amy, 27, and I, 27 male, have a spare room in our home. We've gone back and forth since we moved in 2+ years ago about what we wanted to do with it. But we never took the initiative to implement any of those plans. We already have a sufficient number of guest rooms and an office, so the room just sits there, unutilized. I'm not that worried about it, but my wife brings it up now and then. These mentions are just of the unused room itself, not anything concrete she wants to use it for. I made a new friend, Ben, 30 male, about 8 months ago, and it was very much one of those we connected from the first time we spoke about each other's situations. I've never had that many close male friends, so this connection is vital to me. The conversation flowed so easily. We had loads in common. I didn't think such a huge amount of genuine love and respect for a person could be developed in less than a year, but it's cool to experience that and get to know him. One of the things we bonded over was a similar love for art and music. Ben is way more talented than I am when it comes to painting, but it's something we both enjoy. His birthday is coming up soon, and I thought on top of what else I was getting him, I could turn the spare room into something similar to an art studio for us both to use. I had already ordered a few things for it and was getting ready to jump into painting the walls when my wife came in and demanded to know what I was doing. I explained that I was finally fixing up the spare room. She said it was unacceptable. I had done this without confirming with her that it was okay, but I didn't think I'd need to since it's been 2 years, and the room has never been touched. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, and this is not just about fixing a room. This is about your allowing your friend part ownership and control over a place in your house you share with your wife. What were you going to do? Give him a key? If I were the wife, I'd be thinking long and hard about having a spouse who gives open access to my home to someone he's only known for 8 months. You are the idiot. Opie is so blinded by a shiny new friend that he forgets that his wife also lives in the house and has a say about who should have a key to her home, her safe place. OMG, not only are you an idiot for unilaterally deciding the use of an entire room in your house, but for a level of emotional infidelity with your new best friend. You don't just give access to your house to someone without the consent of your partner. You prioritize this third person's artistic hobby over your relationship with your wife. Oh, and what did you do for your wife's last birthday? Hint, if it wasn't something as big and dramatic as converting a room in a house to her hobby, you're even more of an idiot. You're weirdly prioritizing this relationship over your wife, and you need a serious reality check. It's not weird. He recently found out he has an attraction to another man that he's never felt before, and giving such a gift to him without consulting his wife screams that he has a crush, but doesn't know or actually see it. He could very well be going through something bigger inside that it would be hitting the face with when he puts 2 and 2 together. Yes, he wrote a whole paragraph about how wonderful Ben has made him feel, and then basically said his wiener wife vetoed his project. Opie needs to step back and take a good long look at his relationship with Ben and make some decisions from there. I, 28 female, am a single mom of 3 kids. I met my daughter when I was 22, volunteering in a mentor program. Her bio mom asked that I take her in for a while when she was having a hard time, so I agreed to become her foster parent. Then 2 years ago, we got the paperwork together for me to become her official guardian. I plan to adopt when the kiddo's old enough to tell me that's what she wants. Last year, I got a call from my daughter's caseworker informing me that her bio mom had another child and wanted him to be placed with his sister, so I took him in too. I didn't plan on having any other children, but I met someone. It didn't last. And the long story short is that I have a first grader, a toddler, and I'm 25 weeks. My sister, Bree, 34, always loved hanging out with my kids whenever she had spare time. She's been struggling with infertility since she and her husband started trying for a baby 8 years ago. And I can tell how badly she wants to be a mom. I really do hope that someday it does happen for her because it's all she's ever wanted. Since I announced my pregnancy though, Bree has been kind of distant. I think that maybe it's just life stuff, or I was being overly emotional due to hormones. So I didn't really press her on it or anything and went about things as usual. Our mom invited us all to dinner the other night, so I got my kiddos settled with a sitter and drove to my mom's place. Dinner went mostly fine, but Bree kept giving me looks every time someone brought up the pregnancy. And towards the end of the night, she asked why I even adopted two children if I clearly had no trouble making a baby of my own. I told her that when I started fostering my oldest, it was just to give her a place to live until her mom could get things sorted. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Now her brother's with me too. I love my children and I'm happy to be their mom, but it wasn't my intention in the beginning to adopt via foster care. I wanted their bio mom to work things out, and my heart genuinely hurts for her because she couldn't do that. Bree said it feels like I'm rubbing my kids in her face. She told me that it isn't fair that I basically had two kids fall into my lap and then decided to be reckless and get knocked up too, all while she's been trying for years to have a child with no luck. She said it's cruel and unfair that I took two babies from the system that could have gone to parents who deserve them, all while being able to have my own easily. I ended up telling her that while it sucks, it's not my fault that some people want kids and can't have them, and that her infertility baggage isn't really my issue. Our mother asked me to leave the next day, called to tell me that I was unnecessarily cruel to my sister when I knew what she was going through. Now I don't know if what I said was out of line. Not the idiot. Sis, why haven't you adopted any children since you clearly have trouble making a baby of your own? That would be unnecessarily harsh, but I have zero sympathies for people who act like the universe owes them a biological child. As an adoptee, I kind of wish this had been said. While children in the system aren't exactly an infinite thing, there are so many who need homes, especially sibling placements. But something tells me that she's obsessed with the idea of a baby and not actually with providing a safe home to children. And the fact that she's weaponizing OP's children against her is so gross. If she cared about children in foster care, she would become a foster parent. This is purely about her. What are you supposed to do? Stop making fertility choices just because it makes her feel bad. The point of fostering is to give children a home, not to fill a gap in an infertile couple's life. This right here. I would also add that two kids fell into your lap because instead of being wrapped up in your own life and problems, you were out in the world trying to help less fortunate people and improve their lives. So many of us could take a lesson from that, including perhaps your sister,